Have you ever wanted to be a paleontologist? To hold millions of years of history right in your hand? Well, today, we're not just going to talk about fossils, we're going to make them. Let's turn your kitchen into a literal time machine.
But first, let's start with a huge mystery. We see them in movies, in museums, but how do we actually know what a dinosaur or any prehistoric creature really looks like? I mean, think about it. No one was around with a camera back then.
So here's the secret, and it's pretty surprising. We've almost never found actual dinosaur bone. What we find are rocks. Perfect three-dimensional copies, literally left behind in stone. To get this, we really need to dig into the secrets hidden in the stone. It's the key to how a single moment can be preserved for millions and millions of years.
It all comes down to this simple two-part recipe that nature has been using for eons. It's all about creating an impression and then filling it in. Let's break down exactly how that works.
Okay, so first up, you need a mold. Just picture it. An animal dies and gets buried in mud or sand. As its body slowly decays and disappears, it leaves a perfectly shaped hole behind in the sediment. That hollow space, that empty impression, that is the mold. Think of it as the negative of the original object.
And part two? Well, that's the cast. Over thousands of years, water that's full of dissolved minerals seeps into that empty mold. Those minerals slowly build up, layer by layer, until they harden into solid rock, creating a perfect stone copy of whatever was there. This is the positive that fills that negative space.
So, to put it really simply, the mold is the empty footprint left in the mud. The cast is the rock that later forms in the exact shape of that foot. One is the hole, the other is the thing that fills it. And that, right there, is the fundamental secret to how most fossils are formed. Pretty cool, huh?
All right, enough with the theory, let's actually do this. We're going to become our own geological forces of nature right now. We can recreate this whole ancient process, and all you need are a few things you probably already have around the house or at a craft store. Okay, time for our supply run. Go grab some modeling clay or even Play-Doh. This is going to be our prehistoric mud. Then you need some plaster of Paris. These are our minerals. Find an object you want to fossilize, maybe a shell or a little plastic toy. And you might want to lay down some newspaper because, science can get a little messy. Get ready, because what we're about to do is compress millions of years of geologic time and pressure into the next 30 minutes. Let's make a fossil. All right, step one, flatten your clay into a nice, thick pancake. This is our ancient riverbed. Step two, press your object firmly into it to create that hollow impression. Boom, you've just made your mold. And step three, in a separate cup, mix your plaster of Paris with some water. You want it to be thick, but still pourable, kind of like pancake batter. Now, while you're stirring that plaster, carefully feel the outside of the cup. Notice anything? It's getting warm. What in the world is going on here? This isn't magic, I promise. It's chemistry, live and in action.
What you're feeling is something called an exothermic reaction. As all those little plaster crystals start to form and harden, the mixture releases its stored chemical energy in the form of heat. You can literally feel the chemistry happening. How cool is that?
Okay, now for the really exciting part. You're going to carefully pour your plaster, your minerals, right into that clay mold. This is our sedimentation. Then comes the hardest part of all, waiting. Just let it sit there until it's completely rock hard. And finally, it's time for the excavation. Carefully peel the clay away from your hardened plaster to see what you've made. For us, this whole process takes about 30 minutes. That's our super compressed version of geologic time. Now, just try to imagine nature having the patience to wait millions of years for the same result.
So you've got this awesome rock, copy of a seashell or a tiny dinosaur. It's a fun little trick for sure. But why does it actually matter? Well, because this simple process is the key to unlocking the entire history of life on Earth. And this brings us all the way back to our original question. How do we know what dinosaurs looked like? It's because the soft stuff like skin and muscles, it just decays way too fast. But the hard parts, the bones, the teeth, the shells, they're tough enough to stick around long enough to create that perfect mold for nature to fill with stone. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. Every single fossil is a story, right? It's an echo of a life, preserved in stone. So it makes you wonder, if you could leave a fossil behind for paleontologists to find millions of years from now, what would it be? And what story would it tell them about our world today?